There are stories in football that define a club's era, and then there are stories that expose a club's fundamental rot. And the saga of Alejandro Garnacho's departure from Manchester United is not the former, but a brutal, damning testament to the latter. Imagine the drama. A young man, barely into his 20s, a talent once hailed as the next great thing at Old Trafford, suddenly finds himself alienated, isolated, and publicly shamed by the very institution he adored. So, the club, under the stewardship of manager Ruben Amorim, decided this prodigy was dead weight, a distraction, and worst of all, finished at the elite level. It's a sensational misjudgment that Manchester United will be ruining for years to come. Because what followed was not the quiet exit of a failed prospect, but the dramatic, explosive rebirth of a superstar. A man now lighting up Stamford Bridge and exposing every single flaw in United's broken system. Also, the core problem, as always at Old Trafford recently, lies in institutional paralysis and the desperate need for a scapegoat when things go wrong. Garnacho's decline was never really about Garnacho. It was about the toxic, losing culture that had festered under several managerial tenures, accelerating dangerously after Ole Gunnar Solskjaer and continuing into the disastrous regime led by Amorim. The club was drowning, finishing embarrassingly low in the table and barely scraping into secondary European competitions. And when an organisation is failing, it turns on its own. Garnacho, with his raw, passionate edge, became an easy target. The moment of true betrayal came in December 2024 when Amorim, without a clear justification, entirely dropped the young winger from the Manchester Derby squad, not even granting him a seat on the bench. This wasn't a tactical decision. It was a clear signal of mistrust and rejection, and it was followed by the utterly shameful public humiliation where the manager reportedly told the player, in front of the entire first-team squad, to actively seek out a new club. Think for a moment about the sheer magnitude of this disrespect. This was not a journeyman veteran. This was the kid who, only a few years prior, had won the prestigious Far Youth Cup and the Jimmy Murphy Young Player of the Year award. This was the player who scored one of the greatest goals ever seen. That breathtaking bicycle kick against Everton. A strike so audacious, it earned him the FIFA Puskas Award for the best goal in the entire world. This was the player who scored a crucial goal in an FA Cup final. The one the fans themselves lovingly called their golden boy. To take a player with that pedigree, that history and that emotional connection to the club and consign him to the notorious bomb squad, forcing him to train alone, away from the first team for weeks, is not just bad management. It is actively destructive to human potential and club morale. It was a failure of leadership, a colossal mistake rooted in the inability of the coaching staff and the board to look inward and realise that the sickness was emanating from the top, not the 21-year-old on the wing. While Manchester United was busy pushing a generational talent out the door. The smart money at Chelsea was watching with focused intent. The interest had been there for months, but the visible, self-inflicted damage at United created the perfect opportunity. At the end of August 2025, the deal was struck for a fee of £40 million, a sum far below the £50. 70 million United should have demanded. A paltry amount that perfectly reflects their desperation to get rid of him. What is truly delicious about the deal, however, is the little-known 10% sell-on clause. A cynical final flourish that means Manchester United, the club that told him he was finished, is now financially incentivized to pray for his success at a direct, fiercely competitive rival. The sheer irony is a footballing tragedy and a satirical masterpiece all at once. If Garnacho moves on for £80 million in a few years, United gets £8 million, a direct payment for their own stupidity. When Garnacho first arrived at Stamford Bridge, the road to redemption was not immediate. Enzo Maresca, Chelsea's discerning manager, openly admitted that the player was not 100% fit, a direct consequence of weeks spent training in isolation at United. His confidence was understandably shattered. He struggled initially, making little impact in his debut, and even being substituted at halftime in a subsequent game. The noise began to creep in. Now Chelsea made a mistake. Was United right after all? But this time, the environment was different. The faith was consistent, the coaching was restorative, and the players' own mental fortitude forged in the fires of Old Trafford's rejection was unwavering. Then, on October 25th, in his 7th appearance for the club, the moment arrived. Right. 4 minutes into the match against Sunderland, he drove into the box, smashed the ball past the keeper for his first Chelsea goal, and pointed defiantly to the ground in the iconic celebration of his idol, Cristiano Ronaldo. Wrote, "Sir, for." It was a gesture that contained years of pent-up emotion, a public exorcism of every doubt and every betrayal. Since that cathartic moment, Garnacho has been on a tear, finding the rhythm that the Chelsea system was designed to provide. Against Karabag in the Champions League, he scored again, but the true masterclass came in the Wolves game, where he announced himself to the Premier League. He delivered 2 perfectly weighted assists. One for Malo Gusto's first ever Chelsea goal, and another for Pedro Neto. His performance earned him a resounding 8 out of 10 rating from ESPN, a testament to his explosiveness and his fit in the team. His teammate, Pedronto, publicly praised his work ethic, confirming that he was settling in well and working really hard for the team. This is the key difference. At Chelsea, he is seen, he is supported, and he is succeeding. The way Maresca utilises the inverted fullback, Mark Cucurella, gives Garnacho the entire left flank to operate, playing directly to his strengths as a direct. Fearless dribbler who loves to take players on and whip in open play crosses, a quality that puts him among the top 6 players in the entire league for that specific metric. But as stated before, this is not just about Garnacho. His story is merely the most recent, most dramatic chapter in a long-running organisational crisis at Manchester United. The pattern is so clear it should be plastered on the boardroom wall. Talented players go to United to stall, and they leave to succeed. Marcus Rashford is currently thriving on loan at Barcelona, arguably playing some of the best football of his career. Anthony, who was maligned as a waste of money, is a standout performer at Real Betis. Rasmus Højlund is flourishing at Napoli. Go back further. Paul Pogba had to be bought back for a world record fee after being discarded. Jadon Sancho immediately looked like a new player on loan at Borussia Dortmund. Romelu Lukaku found goals and glory at every club after leaving Old Trafford. Manchester United has become a place where great potential goes to be crushed. A dysfunctional machine that seems pathologically incapable of recognising or nurturing talent, preferring instead to blame the individual when the collective system fails. Here is the brutal, undeniable truth that must be confronted. Manchester United didn't just lose a good player when they sold Garnacho. They lost face, they lost credibility, and they lost an argument. Every goal he scores for Chelsea, every assist he provides, and every chant sung in his name at Stamford Bridge is a flashing, neon reminder that United got it wrong. Garnacho didn't perform some intricate trick to deceive them into thinking he was finished. They did that work themselves. They looked at a player going through a temporary rough patch, a natural trough in the career of a young athlete, and they decided that he was the cancer, instead of realising he was just a symptom of their own deep-seated illness. They chose to cast him out rather than commit to fixing the environment around him. And now they watch. They watch as the player they abandoned blossoms into one of the most exciting young wingers in Europe, driven by a powerful desire for revenge and the simple need to prove his worth. Chelsea took a calculated risk for £40 million on a player who needed only a change of scenery, a manager who believed in him, and a system that fit his skills. And they are now reaping the rewards of their vision. Garnacho's story is still being written, but the first act is complete, and it is a complete, categorical victory for the player, and a profound institutional loss for Manchester United.